From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Dr. Drew. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Dave Dameshek's here for good sports. And now, extraordinary, amazing, fantastic, marvelous, and beyond, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to demand that you get it on, man. Thanks for tuning in, and we thank you for sharing. I just looked at the ratings 10 minutes ago, and they are up. So thank you. Right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
You can't.
Dr. Drew is here. Now,
wow.
What happened for today's show is I was supposed to be in D.C. I was supposed to interview the president. We're going to play that, and then we're going to do some commentary around that. But instead, I'm in studio, and Dr. Drew is here, and I'll explain why.
I'm getting the bends from this.
Yes,
a little hot
going
love
to.
boat talk.
We're going to talk about Love Boat. We're going to talk about a little COVID-19. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. But Drew, not only it was here earlier today, so I said, well, just keep Drew around. I want to talk to him. Drew is the reason I'm physically here today. And the reason that how it works is, okay, I was due to interview the president in the Rose Garden. So I said to my son, because I'm super experienced. I think a childhood is about experiences and not so much about day in and day out and memorize this.
I was going to say, you'd know, wouldn't you?
I didn't have any experiences, but I've always thought about those stories that, you know, my son says, like, oh, I remember when I met this guy or met that guy, or we went to the, you know, they all loved Modern Family. So we went to the set of Modern Family and met everyone on Modern Family. That's one of those days that a child will remember. Anyway, so meeting the president, I said, well, you come with me and we'll meet the president together, and we'll meet Mike August at the airport, and we have an 8:45 flight out of LAX. And
let me guess, August lost his backpack.
No, but
It was on the hood of the car.
Yeah, that's a story. But so it was about, you know, pack the suit, pack the stuff. There's a few things I wanted to bring and blah, blah, blah. Had to get Sonny a suit. Sonny doesn't own a suit. We had to, you know, go buy Sonny a suit. We got Sonny a haircut because his mop's always a mess, you know. Mike August will make our ties for us, like father, like son. He'll make both of them.
Line one after the other.
Yes, literally. And we'll interview, and, you know, I'm writing down little notes. Oh, here's a question I want to ask him. And I said to some people, like, I probably even said to Drew, if you got a question you want me to ask him, I'll ask him for it.
You did.
So there we are. It's like preparing. I went to bed pretty late. I got up pretty early. And we got ourselves all packed up. We had the suit bags and all the extra junk and the dress shoes and everything. And we packed up the car. Now, one of the things I was looking forward to is, as you guys know, walking onto a flight, flying first class and turning left.
Oh, yeah.
Turning left.
That's right.
See, growing up, and Drew knows this because Drew's been traveling for a long time, and his wife is a travel agent. First class used to just mean first class. There wasn't a whole lot of questions after first class. Now you have to ask a lot of questions, such as, what is the equipment? It's a 737. Do they have meals? No. Will I be dry raped in the bathroom? Yes. Okay. This first class experience isn't astounding. And what, shall I bring my own Boda bag with scotch in it? Yeah, they will not be serving. Is there an entertainment? Well, if you brought your phone, I guess you could stare at that, but we don't have Wi-Fi. Like, first class has been dumbed down. And the way you can really tell the first class is, you know, when you're flying from here to Minneapolis and it's $186 and it's first class. The first thing with first class is the physical plane. You cannot have an Airbus or a 737 and expect to be in what we know as first class. It's just too physically confining. It's almost like saying, this is a luxury Tercel. we'll pick you up in this luxury Tercel. And it's like, but at a certain point, I need knee room. Otherwise, I don't care what we're calling it. Well, the seats are fancy. So I talked to Drew, and I told you guys, I called him. He called 2 weeks ago.
He called me on the plane, and he's like, "How's it going on the plane? Everyone wearing the mask?"
No, I didn't call you on the plane. I just called you.
Okay, call me. I happened to be on the plane. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you doing?" I'm getting on a plane, and he goes, "Oh, it's like, did you turn left? Did you turn left?" And I went, "Yeah, I turned left." And he started screaming, "Turn left! Turn left!"
He turned left. He turned left. He's in real first class, turning left. And especially
Drew ends up in the cockpit
screaming, "Turn left!"
It's true. You can fly a 737 turn left, but you will be arrested. But so in this day, and I don't know if you guys find yourself thinking this way. There's a little nostalgia, like a little, oh yeah, I remember when me and Drew used to go out and do colleges and we turn left, or when they flew me out to do Letterman a couple times, wide body, turning left. Remember people, the wide body airplane, know? So I was obsessed with turning left. I had a dream about turning left. And so when it came...
This is the most nerve-wracking part of your trip.
Yes. So when it came time to fly to D.C., Matt said they have an early flight. It's at 8:45, and then they have a later flight that's like 2 p.m. And I said, now, anyone who knows me knows when I'm coming home, I leave on the earliest flight, but when I'm leaving, I leave on the latest flight.
When you're fleeing home, leaving home.
Right. So I also... There's an emotional component to this, which is I think we've all been knocked around and we're little off our schedule these days, and you find yourself clinging to the past, like just the notion of sitting in first class for 5 hours, and your biggest decision is, do you want the cashews or do you want the honey roasted peanuts? And I'm going to have cocktails. I'm just going to put my feet up. Like there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to watch any news. I'm just going to listen to music or watch a movie. So I started finding myself very emotionally attached to this experience. So Matt said, well, you guys can leave on Monday at 2, which is normally what I would do. Or you can leave at an 8:45 flight. And I'm like, well, I hate the idea of getting up at 5:45 and rushing out of the house. I love the idea of the 2 o'clock flight because that means I can get a little shit done, come by the shop, blah, 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 and then leave. But I go, what's the equipment? And he goes, on the early flight, the 8:45, that's a 787.
Oh,
which,
boy.
by the way, I even looked up the night before I left.
The Dreamliner.
It's the Dreamliner.
Yeah. Go on seatguru.com.
The 777, which Drew and I used to fly back in the day, which is awesome. They rolled that out, I think, in 94. This one is like 08, 09.
That's what I was flying in when you talked to me on the plane, the 777.
Which is great.
Yeah, which was great.
But
Not the Dreamliner.
This is a newer version of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is the biggest, newest wide body in the fleet. And you got to understand, I've been crisscrossing this goddamn country on Southwest flights with Mike August for the last 10 years. Like literally just Southwest. Everywhere. So I'm like, oh, I am turning left. And then I bought a coach ticket for Sunny. I was like, you're turning right, bitch.
Good.
Those are first class tickets of the young boy.
That's the Gordon Ramsay school of flying.
Right.
The kids never fly first class.
I said, load up your phone with the Family Guy and go sick, but I'm turning left. And so now I'm dreaming about it. I'm looking it up. I'm looking the flight up. Mike and I are sitting next to each other. We're next to the window. I'm like, this is going to be fucking awesome. And by the way, we're not paying for it, which is the best part. So we start driving in. I get up at 5:30, 5:45. I get Sunny up, loading up everything. That thing where you're going through your brain all the time, like, what do I got my ID, I got to have my wallet. Sonny, you don't have an ID, so I have to check you in. What do we do with minors? They have to check in, when you get there, because there's an age thing, and Sonny's the wrong age for the unaccompanied minor. There's another step you have to do, blah, blah, blah. I'm just combing through. Do I have the suit? Do we have the shoes, the suit? I need black socks, I need the long socks, not the short socks, blah, blah. We load up the car, take off, traffic and everything else. Monday morning, still dark outside, blah, blah, blah. Get about one off-ramp from LAX, probably on the... yeah.
Was it
Right now,
your
Segundo.
Century? Is it La Tierra or something?
Yeah. I'm like on I'm on the 105. I'm looking at Waze.
Okay.
I got about 9 minutes in. Phone rings. It's Mike August. And first thing I do is I process it. Like, I've met Mike August at the airport 1,000 times. He doesn't call me 10 minutes before we're supposed to meet. So I was like, Mike August, call. And then it's like, yeah, Mike. He's like, it's over. It's off. It's all over. That's it. It's over. And I'm like, what? And of course, Sonny's listening because it's on the Bluetooth. You know, it's like, it's off. He's going to Kenosha. President's going to Kenosha. It's scrubbed. And I go, fine. And basically hang up and start turning around and driving home. I go, Sonny, good news. You're going to be home in time to go to school for the full day today.
Oh, wow.
Bastard.
The double whammy.
School starts at 8:30, and it's like 10 minutes to 8, and we're turning around. You're going to be there just in time for your Zoom class, you know.
How quickly do you go from best dad to worst dad? Oh, my God.
So we turn around.
Are you kidding me?
We start driving home, and Sonny, thank God, because he's super sensible guy, I just go, hey, Sonny, here's how it works. If you would like to work at a library for 50 years, this will never happen to you. But if you would like a life where you travel the country and you interview the president and you do things of this nature, then this comes with that. This is a part of that. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to reschedule, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do it. We'll do it again, and we'll do it better because this time we're all packed and everything, and I got some notes, and we'll get some more. So we're going to come back. We're going to do this. We're going to do it better. So he says, okay. Yes, Brian.
Hopefully you thought of the silver lining. How much worse could it have been, A, if you got parked and you were in the airport, B, if, God forbid, you were in the fucking air?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I thought about that moments later. So we then turned around, and we're heading home, and Sonny takes everything the way he takes everything. It's just, you know, okay, I get it. Shit happens. And I said, we'll go out for a steak dinner tonight because we're supposed to go out in D.C. for a steak dinner. So we'll make it up. And then we're just going to come back. We're just going to do it again. And he said, when? And I said, I don't know yet, but we're going to figure that out. And then I got back, and Mike was going back and forth with the White House. And Mike said, we can do it tomorrow. We can do it again tomorrow. And I said, okay. And then he said, no. I think he said tomorrow or Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, I said, we can do it again. We can do it again Friday. And I said, okay, let's do it. Matt, switch all the tickets to the whatever. And then Matt got back to me. He's like, the 787 Dreamliner, that's full up for Friday. That's a no-go. That's a no-go. But I do have the 737. I said, that is not first class. It's not first class. And he's like, well, they've rescheduled for Friday. I was like, ugh.
Can't you go Thursday night or something? Do something?
I got so married to this goddamn wide body that leaves evidently for D.C. out of United once a day, I guess, in the morning.
You could go to Newark and then take a hopper down
I guess.
or something.
But it's more trouble than it's worth. So then I go, screw it. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking I'm married to this 787. I want the 787. I want to turn left. I need to turn left. So he goes, okay. So Mike gets another day. It's not Friday. Now it's going to be Thursday. Or we're going to leave.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry, Wednesday. He gets Wednesday. So now we'll just turn around and leave the next day.
Oh, yeah.
So I go, okay, Matt, get us back on that 787 early flight. Book us on that one. And he goes, he looks and then comes back and he goes, they only have Coach. Coach is the only thing available. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to turn right on the Dreamliner.
Not to rub it in, those Dreamliners do not have shades for their windows. You know why? Because you push a button and it goes dark.
It just goes, the glass.
The glass goes dark.
Oh, my God.
Frosted glass or something?
Polarized.
Yeah.
Not frosted, just dark.
Polarized. Yeah. Oh.
So now what?
I thought you were going to tell me they're an aperture, like a spaceship. You know. Brian's got a noise there. Where's your
I can
noise,
figure
Brian?
something out.
This Star Trek door. Star Trek
So
doors.
I said,
There it is. There
Sorry,
it is.
I want to watch a movie. So I said, Mike, I God damn it, I know this sounds weird. I sound like a prima donna, but I'm so married to turning left onto that goddamn airplane. Let's just pick another day. Just find something in the next 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. Just find something. Give us a couple weeks. I'm booking that flight in first class, whatever. And so that's where we're at right now. Now, Drew is here because Drew was here, but also when Drew's here, I always think of like something medical, something.
Yeah.
And so the latest news was the CDC and the 94% and pre-existing conditions.
Right.
And then, so I'd like to drill down on that because then you turn on the news and you hear other theories on this, good and bad.
Yeah.
So what is it, Drew?
So this is it's a freaking mess, bottom line. What they're reporting on, and you really, again, none of the press tells you exactly what's going on here, so listen carefully. I will tell you exactly what this is. They're reporting on the diagnosis reported on a death certificate. You're given 3 or 4 slots on a death certificate, and how doctors fill that out is very nefarious. Only 6% of the patients with COVID died with one diagnosis, COVID. Right.
Right.
Now, we
So
all know
on the certificate,
on their certificate
6% say COVID.
Now, to make matters even more complicated, when you look at the aging, right, only 330 people died under the age of 24. Only 1,200 under the age of 34. So if you add, really, if you go all the way up to 54 and under, you're only looking at about 12,000 people
Out of the
160, 180,000
plus.
Yeah.
Right.
So they don't talk about, not in this anywhere, is the major risk factor, which is aging.
Right.
So if you just put aging on there, and let's put old as 65 and older, you have essentially 33,000 that are dead out of 160,000.
Well, here would be the question.
That's just aging.
All right, but out of the 6% that just say COVID,
right,
what percentage of that would you assume were over 65?
Just based on the breakdown, it's got to be at least 60, 70%.
Right.
Just the breakdown. But
so even within that number, it's still another number
of
about aged people.
That's
yes.
right. So if you broke it down any further, just COVID is probably 30% of cases. But be that as it may.
Hey, Drew, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because I don't know the answer. Is this like an AIDS situation where no one died of AIDS? They died of pneumonia or whatever?
It's sort of. It's sort of like that because the problem is that the things listed on the death certificate are phenomenon that directly cause the complications of COVID. So it's not like saying, hey man, Drew, I have hypercholesterolemia and I have hypertension. I'm at risk of heart disease, of getting coronary artery disease. But my hypertension and my hypercholesterolemia doesn't cause a heart attack. Mm-hmm. While if I have hypertension and diabetes and obesity, that causes the cytokine storm complications of COVID. So these things are directly the cause of the death. But they, in addition to listing those things in the 94% who have coexisting conditions, and again, the average was 2.6 coexisting conditions, they included all the things that lead to death from complications of COVID, like pneumonia and renal failure and liver inflammation. And, so it's a big mess. This is a big mess. But by and large, please understand that you either get into other trouble or you have other trouble to start with to die of COVID.
Right.
That's what you learn from this.
You can be very old, I guess.
Or be very old, but that doesn't pull out of this data.
Right.
So this data is a mix of both the things that cause COVID deaths and the things that are caused by COVID that lead to death.
Right.
So it's a mess.
It feels to me like this is sort of like the nursing home thing, which is we didn't know it immediately.
Yes.
I suspect it was suppressed. I don't mean suppressed in a bizarre, nefarious way. I just meant we're looking for maximum scare.
Yes.
We're looking for maximum scare. And if you start saying elderly and you start saying nursing homes, it doesn't have the same effect.
Correct.
So it was tamped down, the nursing home thing. And then the age and the pre-existing thing was tamped down as well. But it all eventually comes out in the wash and starts to trickle out.
You hear about it eventually.
I was watching him discuss this on CNN, and what I like is when CNN, a piece of positive information that should not lead their subjects to panic comes out, it's what CNN does with it is what I like, because they still got to push the panic button. So they got their own doctor on to get into this new study that came out from the CDC.
Sanjay?
It wasn't
Sanjay Gupta?
Sanjay's full in the bag in the panic department.
yeah.
That guy's
He has a podcast.
That guy's in it. He's in it to lose it. This guy is another guy. It starts off with, I think Trump retweeted this thing, but that's the beginning part. But we'll listen to what the doctor says.
That's why it's wrong. Yeah.
Right.
It was really disturbing on two fronts.
Disturbing.
First of all, the tweet was from a QAnon conspiracy person who misrepresented what the CDC said. That's one part of it. The other part is that the president amplified that. So let's talk about the facts. What the CDC said is that 6% of people who have died of COVID-19 on their death certificate, 6% only have COVID listed. The rest have other comorbidities along with it. That is the practice in the United States. When all deaths are actually submitted to the CDC, so the CDC collates all deaths. A death certificate, and they get the deaths from death certificates. Every death certificate lists not just the primary cause, like COVID-19, but also comorbidities. So, for instance, if I certify that somebody has died of a heart attack, I write cause of death, myocardial infarction, secondary to diabetes and hypertension. And that's all that this is. It's just saying that in only 6% of the patients, that was the only thing listed on the death certificate.
hold on.
It's meaningless.
So let me stop.
So, Drew, you stepped right on the fucking line.
I'm sorry.
Drew's a fucking... He said, no, it's a gift. It's a gift. Sorry.
Well, go ahead,
He
finish
said it's meaningless.
In only 6% of the patients, that was the only thing listed on the death certificate. It's meaningless. 181,000 people have died of this, not 9,000 people.
All right, so it's meaningless. Is it meaningless?
Well, my what I thought was the extraordinary thing was he says it's a misrepresentation of the CDC data, and then he misrepresents the CDC data himself.
Well, it's meaningless.
Completely.
Meaning, you assholes all need to be in full panic mode. This is meaningless. I know it sounds like it might be good news coming from the CDC if you're not old or you don't have pre-existing conditions, but it is meaningless.
What I can tell is he did not look at the data, so he does not represent the CDC opinion at all. And they made that mistake of confusing concurrent conditions and causational conditions, right? Concurrent conditions are like renal failure and pneumonia, and that was all happening when the person died. Causational in COVID is obesity, hypertension. These are causational links, as opposed to in heart disease, diabetes and hypertension causes heart disease, doesn't cause a heart attack.
Well, for me, being a lay person, I just like when there's bad news, we have to inflate the bad news. And then on rare occasion, when some positive news comes out, we have to figure out a way to deflate the positive, which I think is...
you got to
deflate the positive. Yeah, it's just it's helping scared people stay scared.
Here's another thing I want to drill onto, lay on you, dig. Is that in Germany, they use a PCR amplification cycle of 30 to detect RNA virus. In other words, it's 30 cycles to get the amplification to be able to identify the viral RNA in test swabs. In the U.S., we use 40 cycles, and that drives it up to 1,000 times the German standard. So in the current testing we use here in this country, we are going to continue to find viral RNA everywhere all the time because it is pervasive in the environment now, and they're not distinguishing viral RNA present from a COVID case, somebody who's sick.
All right.
And there's a third category, which is viral RNA present and infectious, and we don't know how to figure that out yet. So California is now set up in such a way that we'll never end lockdown with this testing. Never.
Go ahead, Brian.
Question, Drew, I have a layman's question also for you. I appreciate you explaining the difference between causational and like correlation between the comorbidities. What counts as a comorbidity, and like how widespread is it? I mean, it strikes me that 4 out of 4 people on this call or on this show right now have a comorbidity. How widespread is it? You know what I mean? Amongst the general population,
Well,
are they considering
comorbidity just means another illness or another condition. That's
like
all
a
that
chronic condition?
means. Yeah,
or like,
well, not it is chronic conditions that lead to the complications of COVID. Unfortunately, on the death certificates, they listed many other things that were happening to that person because they were sick.
What's our comorbidity?
I'm hypertensive. I'm
Drew had
hypercholesterolemia.
prostate cancer.
I have prostate cancer. Brian's
Gina's got asthma. She's mentioned many times.
Yeah.
I've got
I'm
a thing going on.
I got some medical stuff going on.
I'm lactose
Am I the only one that
intolerant.
doesn't have anything?
Yeah,
You're a
asshole.
smoker.
Oh, no, I don't think that.
Does that not count?
I don't really.
Well, I don't know. I told Drew I don't know what a comorbidity is.
just
Okay,
another
no, I'm
one.
not. But I'm not a smoker.
Okay.
I mean,
quit?
no, I smoke a cigarette, like 3 cigarettes a week.
That's it.
Okay, all right.
You're a hero.
I'm a hero. No, I don't know what my pre-existing thing was.
Hey, speaking of that, Dr. Drew, and I want to make this very clear, front-loaded, I am not pregnant.
Oh.
But I have friends I have 2 friends.
Yes, friends, of
that
course.
are, no, I swear to God.
Yeah, of course. Sure.
I'm
Friends.
truly
Yeah.
not.
Friends. Yeah.
Regina.
I'll tell you my big announcement is I finally downloaded one of those stupid ovulation apps just for fun. I don't even know if it's whatever. I'm too
you're
old. Doesn't
friends.
matter.
Okay.
I'm barren. But I have 2 friends. One friend just had the baby. 2 friends are pregnant. I can see why it would seem very, even though this in the history of the world, it is not a big deal, I would imagine, to be pregnant during this type of pandemic. It does feel a little like, what if you get sick and you're pregnant, or does the baby give you superpowers and you don't get what's up with that?
So when you're pregnant, you feel vulnerable. And so feeling vulnerable in a vulnerable time is extra super uncomfortable. Pregnant women, my understanding of the data, are more likely to get COVID, less likely to have real complications from it. Because they already have a foreign body in their system, so their immune system is downregulated in all kinds of interesting ways.
To be fair, I have a plastic chin.
Oh, there you go. It's interesting. Let's study that.
So you're going to have to switch your positions, Gina, if you want to get pregnant. I'm no doctor, but titty fucking every night. Just
Rarely,
it's
if
got the word fucking in it, but it's just not going to get it done. Not from
Crazy.
a biological
I haven't had any complaints.
standpoint.
Why the opposite?
All right. So the next question, Drew, you got a heart out? When are you out of here?
35.
Okay. All right. Come on, Max Pat.
I know. I told him 20. I'm
True lie.
Drew's
Drew's a liar.
I'm stretching.
Drew's a liar.
Don't come on, Max and Pat.
I told him 20.
Drew's a liar. All right. We have Drew's cocktail party, which Dawson whipped up for you. Your birthday cocktail party, which I've worked with you for 25 years. I don't know any. I have no idea.
He doesn't know when your birthday is.
I don't know when your birthday is, but I don't know who else, from a notable standpoint, shares your birthday. Here we go.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Dr. Drew's birthday cocktail party for September 4th. Let's see who we got on the guest list. Well, Mark Ronson's here with the entertainment. Whitney Cummings is here with even more entertainment. From Jimmy Kimmel Live and the lesser-known Saturday Night Live, Kyle Mooney, Damon Wayans, legendary broadcaster Paul Harvey is here with the rest of the story. And Anthony Weiner just showed up. But Mike Piazza's here. And the Queen, Beyonce. Let's party.
Oh, you lucky
Now
devil.
back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Finish strong.
That was the only one I knew. Beyonce.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've probably interviewed or hung out with Whitney Cummings
Yes.
a bunch of times.
Yes.
You just never knew it.
I didn't know Beyonce and Paul Harvey had anything in common.
Yeah, see.
Good day.
Good day.
I miss old time. That in my world where I used to listen to AM radio to get me through my horrible repetitive jobs, I always remember Paul Harvey coming on around noon and telling the story, and that man was Wilbur Wright. And now you know the rest of the story. He'd tell these great stories where it's like this young man owned a bicycle shop. And he used to repair bicycles. His grandfather told him he would never turn into any. And then he would tell you who the guy was.
And that's Harley Davidson.
That's right. And I was working, at a Always Better Closets with a bunch of schlubs, in the Deep Valley. And I used to think, oh, there's hope. There's hope because all these famous people started off with these crappy jobs and their teachers told them they wouldn't amount to anything. And now that person was, and they would tell it Rockefeller or whatever. And I'd go, ooh, it was sort of inspirational.
Speaking of inspirational, you were with a bunch of guys that spoke in tongues and he prayed for you. And what was the guy's name with the fantastic name?
Oh, Pogi. Pogi was Filipino, means handsome.
Yeah, it's a good-looking dude.
It's a good-looking.
He spoke tongues.
No, Frank spoke tongues.
Oh, Frank.
Frank would be.
Yeah, Drew, that was just Tagalog.
Frank would be Shandala, Shandala. Yeah, the one time Frank should have spoke up and instead of in tongues is we were working on a really little house in the San Fernando Valley installing a closet. It was me and Frank and, the rest of the guys from Always Better Closets. But the owner, Drew knows this, you guys heard this one, but it was like one of those perfect stories. Just like a small little valley house. And the owner was saying to me, I was kind of the carpenter of the group, and they was going, I want to do like a molding above the sliding closet door. It's in the bathroom. It's got this, I want to match the stuff that's in the bathroom. And we just started walking down the hall. He goes, yeah, let me show you the stuff in the bathroom. We started to turn the corner, and just perfect timing, Frank had just blown up and destroyed the bathroom and had opened the door. And he was like walking out as we're walking in. And the owner had this, like, he was walking with purpose. He's like, let me show you the molding in the bathroom. And he was sort of in that world. I want to show you this. I want to match this molding. And Frank, who was a man of few words, he like walked out of the bathroom as we were heading toward him and heading in. And he just very quietly went like, I don't think that's a good idea. And like I heard him say it, like I knew it meant something. Like Frank doesn't talk, and he just issued a warning after leaving this guy's bathroom.
Shot.
It was warning, and I was like, I heard him, and this guy didn't, and we both just piled into this very small, one of those valley house, 1,100 square foot miniature bathrooms, just piled. The guy just piled in, and the molding's like right above the toilet. It's like, hey, come here, and he just stared, and we both stopped at the toilet, and it was like absolutely destroyed in this bathroom. Like, no fart fan, no candles, no ventilation, no nothing, and this
breathtaking.
guy, yeah, literally. So. Drew, you, I got a couple. There's some things interesting. I'm interested in this now. Yeah. I was looking at Joe Biden, and he crosses his legs like you cross your legs.
Oh, look at that!
And
like a chick.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Adam's been on me about that since 1992. There it is. I really believe it's
Trump crosses his legs like a chick too.
It's a laxity thing in the hips. It's
is
literally
that what it is?
Yeah. Some people have lax hips, and I have super lax hips. When I stand in my office, I stand. Look at this. I stand like this when I'm in repose.
Good pod.
No, this is. I'm in
He's
like the
basically doing a ballet move.
I'm in fourth position ballet.
Yeah.
What?
And that's how I stand when I'm comfortable.
What about the nutsack? I feel like every time.
You would think, but if it's
up or
long
down,
enough and big enough,
Not
it hangs down.
everybody goes full Mr. Belvedere.
No, it hangs down.
Yeah,
It gets under the cross.
I get it.
Beneath the cross. But by the way, have you ever noticed how Trump sits? By the way, whenever he sits, he puts his leg far apart and he does this.
Holds his
Does
junk.
what?
He puts a
You're
diamond.
doing a lot of pantomime going on.
No,
for
he puts
a. I'm
gonna tell you, he puts a diamond. He puts his hands together, open like a diamond, right in front of his trunks. You find any picture of him, you'll see that. Especially with a world leader, he always does that.
Well,
interesting.
There's not much rhyme or reason, but I just noticed that Biden and Drew and sort of Trump and many other great Americans crossed their legs that way.
Thank you. I'm sure George Washington did too.
I am interested in the dudes that do and the dudes that don't. So I am full left ankle on top of right kneecap. I am boom. I don't even cross at all. It's just my ankle sits right on top of my kneecap. That is always the way I've done it. I feel like no chance for testicular torsion there.
That's true.
It's good.
True. I like that.
It airs out the region,
Well, you've always put the adequate talc in there, and that could get in the way of the paper mache built up.
Oh boy.
I'm with
You never
I'm with
looked at
Great
his
Americans. Dr. Drew, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. I'm a leg over leg guy, especially since I lost the weight and I got my initial diagnosis. It's just easier. The hip got so tight and so sore after my first round of treatment.
I felt the pull on the hip when I go that way. Also, I think a little of it for me. Maybe this is just a vestige of something, but I guess I was like, well, that's how chicks cross their legs. Guys cross their legs different.
Yeah.
But can I tell you something about that leg cross? Girls, there it is. There's
the diamond.
Protecting the junk. Yeah.
There's a lot of pictures of
He
Trump
always
sitting
does.
like that.
Yeah, he always sits like that when he's with the world leader.
I personally, and I know a lot of other females who think it's sexy when guys cross their legs like that. It's like you're so confident, like guys who wear pink, it's really sexy because like you're so confident, you're so manly, you just devil make hair sit, and girls think it's hot.
It's
They must
kind
like
of
Caesar
statesman-like, you know what I mean?
Is what?
It's kind of statesman-like it's an older generation
Yes.
thing.
I think the crossing of the legs, like you American heroes do, it says I'm listening more than my version.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it says
Because I tell you
fireside
what
chat.
I do. I lean into it.
I am
lean into that
listening.
cross.
Like it's
Yeah.
a I'm listening
Yeah, yeah.
posture. Mine is I'm 10. I went with my mom to the place to get her tires balanced, and I'm bored as shit sitting in the lobby.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mine. Also, mine lends itself to foot tapping and foot flapping, like a tap, 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 you know,
It's
the
funny.
upper
My therapist
foot.
always sat with her legs crossed when in a session. Now I think about
She's
it.
sending a message.
Maybe that's
Closed for business. No, women.
in spite of the erotic transference.
Well, women can't sit like we
There you
sit.
go.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Chris,
sexy.
great pull.
That's perfect.
That's a
Corleone.
fucking man right there.
Yeah,
Say
that
it.
looks sexy.
Say the name. Don.
It's Michael Corleone.
Michael
That's Pacino.
Right. Yeah.
You
In
broke
The
my
Godfather.
heart,
That's how he
Fredo.
sits.
Godfather 2.
Yeah. I get.
Except
I don't.
look at that. I think he's having trouble. Look, my knee sticks out.
Yeah.
he's
well,
having
look,
trouble
he's-
getting his
look,
leg over.
There's versions.
Yeah.
There's stages of this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying I am full ankle on the kneecap.
I get it.
no crossover at all. And every once in a while when I try it just to kind of check it out, I feel like I pinch a sack. All right, Drew does have a heart out, so let me get. So Drew, thank you for your help.
My pleasure. And we'll do a little hot love line talk on the A&D.
Please.
The boat.
Oh no,
Please.
we have a Love Boat. We have an episode
I've done that too.
tell me this last episode wasn't the most ridiculous one of all time.
They're all better
but
than
this
the next.
one, yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Donny Osmond.
Ooh.
Eve Arden.
I've told you the only decent part of my childhood is when I was 11 or 12, I kind of looked like Donny Osmond, who was like in the height of his powers, And so once in a blue moon, someone goes, hey, you're going to look like Donny Osmond. And that was the biggest, oh, man.
And then you and I had experienced that Donny Osmond moment in Wisconsin. We ran past that celebrity on our jog, that sorority on our jog.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
this?
yeah. I'll tell that
So
story.
weird.
Drew's got a heart
All
out.
right,
But
I gotta go.
remind me to tell that story
All right.
when we come back.
So
First,
make him tell you the story about Wisconsin and being chased.
that was in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Was that the University of Wisconsin?
It was like one of those, like, not Clearwater. What was the city? Was it obscure? White something? Or
You remember
Obscure
better than
city.
I.
Yeah,
I really
obscure
don't. All right.
Great story.
I'll tell you about that in a second. Drew's
Whitewater, he's probably thinking of.
Whitewater, drdrew.com is where you go for check out all his podcasts. Me and Drew are doing a podcast as well. JB Weld, DIY projects to get through. Want to save money, avoid paying the repairman, big or small repairs, home or garage, ordinary household glue. Well, it's got the word ordinary right in the title. You don't need that. You need JB Weld, proud sponsor. JB Weld, I know the owner. The guy's great. Hung out with him and SEMA for a while. Pros and DIYers have trusted JB Weld for over 50 years. Proudly made in the U.S. of A. Keep JB Weld in your toolbox, kitchen drawer, craft room, metal, wood, plastic, and more. Don't glue it. JB Weld it, yo. It's available at jbweld.com, Home Depot, Lowe's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, Walmart, Amazon, Michaels, and more. It is JB Weld. All right, we'll take some of your phone calls. I'll tell you that Donny Osmond-esque story, and we'll get to all that right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
East man, talk about things staying the same and not changing.
go listen to this song from the 60s. It was a top 10 hit called Eve of Destruction by Barry McGuire. Listen to those lyrics, see how crazy things were back then. Later.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
So, you want to talk about bumming my son out, but I don't know how we got onto it, but I said, there's an Elvis Presley song called In the Ghetto. It's 51 years old now. It's just Chicago. We've gone through it before. I said, just read the lyrics. It's 51 years old. It's exactly what's going on today. It's exactly what we're doing today. Exactly the same stuff we're talking about. The politicians are talking about. We need change. We need a dialogue. We got to fix this. It's all laid out. Just go. He pulled up on his phone. I said, read the lyrics of In the Ghetto. It's 50-something years old now. It's exactly the same shit we're talking about now. So you tell me what you guys think the politicians are going to fix, or are you going to fix it yourself? All right, and you're not going to fix it. You're only going to fix your family.
You.
Drew and I were in Wisconsin. Drew and I were playing a college. Drew and I would just zigzag all over the country playing colleges. And we would just land, stay at a cheap hotel, walk over to the venue 10 minutes before the venue started, do the gig, sign autographs after the show. I guess Gina knows that one, right? We're in Kansas. And
Yeah.
and
Love that one.
And then try to find a place to have a beer or something afterward. That was sort of the schedule. And sometimes, depending on flights, we would get there, quite a few hours earlier than we needed to be there. And if we did do that, then Drew and I would try to figure out some place. We'd go jogging or go take a hike or walk or look at whatever the natural, plenty of stuff to look at when you're going to upstate New York and you're going to Wisconsin. There's a lot of ground to cover. So Drew and I went out for a jog. And we just sort of jogged from the hotel and we'll jog to the campus and we'll go around the campus and we'll come back into the hotel. And as we were jogging back to the hotel, there's a big sorority house, and it was on the corner, I remember. And so it took up the whole corner. The whole front lawn took up the corner. And they had bleachers out there, and it was picture day. And all the sorority girls were going out front to take pictures on the bleacher. They're going to stack them up and take a picture in front of the sorority house. And Drew and I just came trucking down the street and kind of turned the corner. And Loveline was so popular on MTV at that point. That's why we do these college tours and we sell out these. Sometimes we play basketball arenas that had 9,000 people and stuff. I, of course, at the time thought nothing of it. It's we're playing a 3,000-seater, playing a 9,000-seater. I'm yeah, okay, whatever. I didn't realize that's a big deal to play multi-thousand-seat theaters, and event centers and things like that. But we went trucking down the street, and a couple of the girls up in the bleachers were like, hey, it's the Loveline. It's the Adam and Drew from Loveline, because they just watch it on MTV every night. And it was huh? What? And the next thing you know, they all started screaming. And Drew and I were just trucking down the street, and they came down and they started chasing us. And Drew was me and Drew were at a full sprint with about 40 chicks just chasing after us. And it was very reminiscent of the old, the Donny Osmond, you know what it was? It was a High Karate cologne commercial from back in the day with all the chicks chasing after the guy because he smelled so good. But yes,
Hard Day's Night.
We were running for our lives because, probably, I'd say about 3/4 of chicks probably knew who we were at the sorority. The other 10 were just let's do it. This is a goof.
But try explaining this to high school Adam Carolla,
Oh,
that he'd be
my God.
jogging around and a whole sorority house would be chasing after him.
Yeah.
Did he steal something?
Right. God's honest. All right, let's see. We've got a couple of calls up here. Sarah, 43, New Hampshire.
Hey, guys. First
Hi, Guy.
time, long time. How are you?
What's going on?
Not too much. So I have a question for both you, Drew, and Adam. Since the whole COVID thing has started, my mom, who is 64, has kind of really invested herself in a bunch of crazy conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
And I have tried to fight them with things that are informational, with truth.
What are her theories? What's the craziest?
Well, last night she called me at 1 a.m. to tell me that over the next 3 weeks, sometime over the next 3 weeks, we're going to experience a blackout, and we'll have no TV, no internet, no nothing, and it will just be Donald Trump feeding us some information because he is our savior.
Well, seems
what's
like
the crazy part?
It seems like there's a larger problem here. Like, this is.
Yes.
I've had this. My mother-in-law started to kind of go down this road. This is a person that needs medication and supervision, and like this isn't really about COVID or Trump or elections or anything. That's where they focus, but it could be anything. Could be the Michelin Man at some point. So she needs to be, I'll speak as if for Drew, but she needs a workup, an evaluation, and possibly some medication. Like that ain't easy, because one thing I've seen firsthand is these people who think this way don't want that. I mean, I've been in a house while the cops physically wrestled my mother-in-law to the ground and carried her out and like put her in an ambulance as she, screamed and fought.
She didn't sweep the leg and lay them all out with her karate?
She did bust them up. Yeah, she busted. I remember she busted.
That's what she does.
I remember she busted the one guy's watch, and the cops were like, "God, this 72-year-old chick is putting up quite a fight." But yeah, they don't. They go kicking and screaming. This is basically getting Steve-O to rehab. This isn't you sending him a text telling him you're going to meet him at greener pastures or whatever. This unfortunately takes a team, and sometimes there's a physical aspect to it. But if I were you, Sarah, I would start enlisting other people in her world and your world to like start coming up with a plan. But she needs to be evaluated.
She has been evaluated, and she is on medication. And I've started enlisting other people. I've recently enlisted my brother, who has actually been a huge help. I'm not sure if I should I be fighting this with truth, or do I let her continue in this mess?
I don't, Drew always does this thing where he does this like curious thing versus the, you're wrong. Here's what's really happening. That doesn't work. You go, there's going to be a power outage in 2 weeks, and Trump's going to communicate with everybody. I'm curious, how would he communicate with the power outage? Work? Yeah, how would that work? Yeah. And then she'll keep going. But Drew always talks about the sort of curious part of it, which never works either. It just doesn't. It gets you in the entry hall of the insane asylum. It never really gets you into the head office. But when you do you're nuts. This is crazy. You got to hear yourself. You don't even get through the front door. So a little of that wonderment thing that Drew always pitches, and then some adjustment on the meds, I would guess.
You do what you do with little kids. How many times a day when I get drawn a picture and I don't know what the hell it is by a 5-year-old and going, I don't get it. I go, tell me about it. Tell me about that. And that it's the same thing you do with little ones.
I agree. Cliff, 35, Indiana, wants to get my take on Kyle Rittenhouse, 17-year-old shooter situation. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's your take on it?
Well, I mean, it seems to me pretty clear. He was running away from a mob toward the police, full speed. He trips and falls and loses control of his weapon. And literally the second they get up on him, and in the background screaming, "Get him!" just seconds before that, one guy's got a skateboard in his hand. And at that last second, he shoots 3 of them. And I guess the first 2 died. The third, had his arm turned into spaghetti. And in the still frame photos from that video, he's kneeling down, holding a handgun in his hand, the same arm that's been blown to bits. And, the media's like, white nationalists or militia, Trump's militia killing innocent protesters.
Well, I thought the first guy got shot before he tripped and fell. I thought two guys got shot there, but I think one guy got shot initially. So here's what I know. First thing first, I don't think people should be arming and heading out, especially 17-year-olds or anybody. But there is an element of, I think somebody had, Maxipata might be able to check this. I think somebody had 3 businesses. So what if you had 3 businesses and 2 of those businesses had been burnt to the ground, and it didn't seem like there was going to be any law enforcement or any National Guard, and those were your businesses, and I'm not sure, but I have heard that insurance sometimes doesn't cover, or oftentimes doesn't cover this. Then what are you to do as a business owner? Like, what is your thoughts? What would you do? Would you go there? Would you get up on the roof? Would you bring a gun? Would you patrol this area? Like, how would we do this? Now, we can say it's wrong, don't do it, but that's us. We're not business owners that are having our businesses burnt. So I understand the people. I understood, when L.A. was burning in 93, 92, 93. Anyway, when L.A. was burning, there were Koreans up on the roof of their liquor store with guns, letting people know that they couldn't get near their liquor store with Molotov cocktails.
And God bless them.
Well, look, here's the deal. If the cops aren't going to do it, then I don't know what we're going to do. This notion of clear it out, I don't know. Some people have enough money. Some people have enough insurance, but other people don't. So I get that.
Here's my take on what I think is the key part, which is that it's very clear this has been happening for 3 months, and there's video where the camera pans left, and there's all the law enforcement officers standing there doing nothing. But it's not because they won't do anything. It's because they can't, because they've got their hands tied by the local politicians, and who want this sort of thing to be inflamed and amplified. So terrible things happen, and they can harness it for political power against their political enemies.
Well,
how long does that go on before good people say, you know what, I'm not going to let my city burn. I'm going to get my rifle and go outside and protect a business?
Well, it is going to happen. It already is happening, and it can't not happen. It's already, look, again, 25, 28 years ago, the Koreans were all on the roof of the liquor stores out here. It's always happened. Yes, Brian.
I'm glad Cliff brought up, I'm not going to let this happen in my city and my business. So I'm sure a lot of information is going to come out about this either way. Like, it could break either way. I don't know the facts. What I do know is he was 17 years old. The law in Wisconsin is you have to be 18 years old to carry a weapon openly. Also, it wasn't his city. He came from out of state.
Well, now you got to look that one up, Maxipata, because
that one I know for sure.
There's some issue or there's some rule. I was talking to Garagos about bringing a gun from out of state. The point is they were not protecting the store. I think somebody said to him, will you help protect my store? And that's what he was doing. Then at some point, because I heard his attorney interviewed, which, by the way, you're getting his version of the story, but there's video corroboration of this. He is supposed to be, he's from Antioch, Illinois. Yeah. He's supposed to be, he thinks he's going to be protecting 21 miles away. He thinks he's going to be protecting this guy's store. He's also out, he brought his first aid kit or something, and he's doing some first aid stuff. He then gets sort of separated and behind enemy lines, so to speak. He then gets chased by somebody and turns around and shoots that guy dead. I think that's the guy he shoots in the head. Somebody chased him in a parking lot. Then he starts running. Then he trips. Then a group comes up to him, and then he turns around and shoots one in the abdomen and the other one in the arm. But I think the one with the arm had a gun. And it's a mess. It could only, of course, it's going to happen. How could it go any other way?
And it happened it happened in a place where you go, well, this stuff doesn't happen in, I don't know, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now we know it officially happens everywhere.
The story basically is there's much more to the story than this, like white supremacists showed up and started shooting peaceful protesters.
Yes.
And,
the Kenosha Guard.
And I don't think, according to at least what I know right now, he's not going to be prosecuted to the extent that we think he's going to be prosecuted, because in each one of these shootings, he was chased down and attacked. Yeah. But on the other hand,
extenuating circumstances.
Don't show up with a gun. But look, hey, government, I'm telling you this. If you do not provide protection, for your citizens, be prepared for a lot more couples coming out on their lawn with AR-15s and a lot more 17-year-olds going out and going vigilante. It shall happen. I mean, how can it not? It's going to happen. We have to get the National Guard involved. We need to shut it down. And or otherwise, people will take the law into their own hands. Last question here. Jerry is 30, and he's from Sacramento. Yes, Jerry?
Hello. Hey, just had a quick question. I was just wondering, do you think they should put a disclaimer on the news that says this is a for-profit organization and certain clips and information may be taken out of context? Because I feel like that would be in the public's best interest at a certain point.
Look, everyone, at a certain point, you can have the Presidential's Council for Fitness, but at the end of the day, you are in charge of your own health. And you're in charge of your own mental health as well. And you can go, we want to restrict sugary drinks to under 16 ounces. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you're in charge of your physical health and you're in charge of your mental/informational health. And when you
don't you want?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Don't you want people just to start thinking about it, just to question it, not just take it as doctrine, as everything that's going to be shown is true, which I think is a major problem when it comes to the news.
Well,
I love this idea.
I think what you need to do is you need to already understand that you're getting a version of it, and you're getting a slant. You need to then diversify your portfolio. You have to get information from other places. You have to listen to a little talk radio. You have to watch some CNN. You also have to do things like, I saw the reports that the CDC said that as little as 6% of people died of COVID with no pre-existing conditions. Then I turned on CNN and I saw a physician explaining that doesn't mean anything. That's not cause for celebration. This is really a nothing burger. So I sat down and I called Drew and I said, you're a physician. Here's what this person said. Here's what the CDC report said. Give me your opinion. Drew can be wrong as well, but I wanted to get another opinion. When you here's what I know. When you hear ideas that are little like you go, oh, the CDC report came out. This sounds good. And then you turn on CNN and it's like, oh, it's not good. And you're like, huh, what is that? What is that about? Well, I need to now look into this and find out what it is. It could be, President Trump is confiscating mailboxes so people won't have a place to vote. And you go, well, that seems like a bold move. Like I'm literally going to drive around in flatbed truck and you see pictures of flatbed trucks with mailboxes. And you're like, huh. And then you have to investigate. You have to figure out, has this been going on? How long has it been going on? What is going on? But
don't you think that that's kind of a thought of it? It's like what Drew said about how 50% of the population is IQ is under 100. Some people just eat it up, and they don't think like you're thinking, where you got to do your research. I mean, well, I just think it's irresponsible.
They don't think that way. But on every pack of cigarettes, there's a warning label that says causes lung cancer and death, and people still smoke cigarettes. And on every bottle of booze, and on every people do.
But there's pleasure associated with that. The news is all just drama, isn't it?
Well, it may be turning on certain parts of your brain that produce pleasure or satisfaction. I'm just saying, everybody, you need to really think. There's two things I've always said. Like when someone goes, oh, this person came in. I used to do this with Drew all the time. This person came in, started yelling at me, and then left. I always go, what would they say? What would they say if you asked them what they did? Would they say, I just came in, started yelling at Drew and left? Mm-hmm. Like, what would be their angle? And then also, if you start seeing things that seem like a little whacked out of context, you know what I mean? Like, this person said this blatantly racist thing. It's like, why would they do that? What would be in it for them to just say this blatantly racist thing or this thing? Like, let me start scratching around. Let's hear more. Yes, we're all now forced to become sleuths, which is sad because back in the day, you just watched the news and that was just the news. Now we all have to kind of investigate one side or the other, what direction we're heading with the news. But, Jerry, I think this is bound to happen. I think there's more and more of this is going to happen. And I think it'll end up maybe making people go out and do it, investigate, but you're never going to eliminate the confirmation bias people, the people that just want to figure out how to confirm what they already think, and that's going to happen. And the sad part is the politicians are all in on this as well. And who knew?
Benefits the news networks.
Oh my God! I mean, they're making money.
Confirmation bias and confusion. That's their pillars of their income.
Keeps you tuning in.
Yeah, at a certain point, you're just going to have to start doing your own homework. But as you do your own homework, you're going to have to ask some questions, or you're also going to have to be kind of neutral. You need to be an umpire, and you need to call balls and strikes. And the problem is everyone's son is pitching. And so we're like, it's easy to call balls and strikes when your son's not on the mound. But when you got your 11-year-old on the mound, now we're asking you to call balls and strikes. And what I'm saying is, and this is called intellectual honesty, and it's called character. So if you're going to be the umpire and your son is going to take the mound and he's going to throw pitches, you have to call balls and strikes. And I would even argue that if you get to one and it's right on the corner of the plate, you still should call it a ball because it should be that close. And if we're just going to start saying ones that, were thrown over the backstop or strikes, eventually you're going to lose your credibility as an umpire
pretty quickly.
Quickly. All right. Yes.
Real quick, just because I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Talk about confusing. I can't get out of my mind the fact that Kimberly Guilfoyle and Governor Gavin Newsom were married. But it also is perfect.
It's perfect.
Doesn't it mean ultimately that it's all a charade? It just is what it is.
Yes, it all is. The other thing I was thinking about with Kimberly Guilfoyle was her speech during the convention.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of I was contrasting that to President Obama's speech, and I went, this is the Democrats and these are Republicans. Like, he's the smoothest, calmest. He was taking like 5 Mississippi pauses in between thoughts.
You could run ads in those spaces.
She gave her speech. She gave her speech like Gene Hackman in the Poseidon Adventure when he was hanging on the valve at the end. Like, God, you want another? How many have to die?
How many is enough?
How many is enough? Was her speech. Now, to be fair to her, Obama was saying nothing the entire time, but it was so smooth and eloquent. And I don't even know what she was saying, but her hands were flapping around. Yeah,
like an opera singer.
Find a Hackman hanging, I don't know, type in Gene Hackman Poseidon Adventure, and what would you call it? End speech or end dialogue? Or
climactic
scene.
And then last 15 seconds of Kimberly Guilfoyle's speech.
Yes.
Poseidon Adventure is a good movie.
Give me a couple minutes here.
It is.
I know. I got to say that I was pumped for the remake, but the thing about the remake, to be fair to the remakes, is half the movie is sort of not knowing what this is or what's going on or what happened. And then they do the remake and they go, the effects were good, but it was kind of boring. It's like, yeah, because it just kind of did what the other one did. But that movie for me, when I was a kid, was a big old deal. and had the #1 soundtrack in it.
That's right. What, Live Another Day or something?
The morning after.
The morning after, yeah. It had something to do with like surviving.
It was, if you find it, it was the antithesis of Eve of Destruction. She's like, this was a very positive song. All right.
Did they use that commercial in Plan B commercials? Did they use that song?
To be a morning after pill. This is Maureen McGovern, and I think maybe her only hit, as far as I know. Is that like 71 or something like that?
She's still releasing albums.
She is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, I couldn't tell you definitively.
Her and the presidents of the United States of America are both releasing albums.
She also did the hit from the Towering Inferno, We May Never Love Like This Again.
Really?
That's what it says on Wikipedia.
Cornered the market on disaster movie theme songs.
Look, I mean no disrespect, but she must have given Irwin Allen like 6 blowjobs. No disrespect.
No disrespect.
Was Irwin Allen must have done both those. All right, Maxwell, I'm going to buy you some time. But Irwin Allen must have done Towering Inferno, Earthquake, and probably did Poseidon Adventure as well. So he knew talent when he saw it. So that's probably why she got both gigs. Now,
interesting. The soundtrack composed and conducted by John Williams, song written by 2 other guys.
John Williams. John Williams, not Paul Williams. Yeah, interesting. All right, I want to hear the theme to Towering Inferno then. And first I'll tell you about Simply Safe. 2 eyes in there. Most home security companies trap you with high prices, tricky contracts, lousy customer service. There's only one no-brainer. That is Simply Safe. Everything to protect your home. An arsenal of sensors, cameras for every room, and sensors for every room. Windows, doors, it's all there, tailored specifically to your home. You hop online, you figure out, well, how many doors and windows do I have and how many cameras do I want? Set the whole thing up, professional monitoring day and night, ready to send out an alert to police or fire or medical professionals if you need it. Set up in under an hour, just peel and stick, no technician required. No contract, pushy sales guys, hidden fees, or fine print. Starts at just $15 a month. It is Simply Safe, right, Dawson?
Head to simplysafe.com/Adam and get a free HD camera for our listeners. That's simplysafe.com/Adam to make sure they know that our show sent you.
Give me the news with Grad, news with Gina Grad, breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad, trouble in the Middle East, celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, things are not going well for Ron Jeremy. And there is a very good chance he may never see the outside of a prison cell again. He has been charged Monday with 20 additional sexual assault counts involving 12 women and a teen girl that date back to 2004. That's according to the LA County District Attorney's Office. The complaint against Jeremy, who earlier pleaded not guilty to 3 alleged rapes, includes 5 counts of forcible rape and lewd conduct with a 15-year-old girl. He pleaded not guilty to the additional charges. He's 67 now. He was ordered to return to court in October when a date for a preliminary hearing is expected to be scheduled. The LA County Sheriff's Department said a 2-year investigation led to these charges. And if convicted to the initial charges, not these new ones, the initial charges, Jeremy could face a potential maximum sentence of 90 years to life in state prison.
I saw something that said 250 years behind prison walls.
That might be combined.
I saw a couple of pictures of Ron, and he's in now, right? I mean, he's.
Yeah, we have a picture if you want to see it.
I will say this: you got the whole thing about dudes with long hair. First off, it's not good for prison because especially the dudes who dye their hair and wear it long. At some point when you hit 60, just get out the clippers, man. Because you can't keep it up. Because what happens is your hair is long, but it gets really thin because you're losing your hair, and then you have to dye it, and now it's like wildly aesthetically unpleasing. But okay,
you think that's his biggest problem?
I'd say the just for men part is the biggest problem. It's also, I wonder, like, about a guy like that. He has sex with so many women young nubile women his entire career. Like, I mean, that guy just is having sex all throughout. Even in his 60s, he's starring in porns with 22-year-old girls. What if he kind of gets this sort of sense like he can just do whatever he wants? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't like that's all he's been doing is just banging everyone all the time for the last 50 years or 40 years. Also, anyway. All right, Ron. See ya. Sad. But what are you going to do? And then was he accused of drugging them? Was that the big deal? Was that the original one that he was drugging women? I thought that was the first one, this whole drugging part of the story. Well, anyway, I'll let you carry on, but I thought that was
all right.
the
Yeah, Chris,
one.
if you wouldn't mind looking into that, we'll move forward. Satirical French newspaper, and this might trigger your memory because we haven't talked about it in a while. We haven't need to. Charlie Hebdo. That was a big headline.
They're still around?
Yep, 2015. The target of a 2015 massacre by Islamic extremists will republish cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad to coincide with the start of the trial for the terror attack. The 2015 attack left 12 people dead when gunmen swarmed Charlie Hebdo's office, killing 11 employees and a policeman. In the following days, additional attacks left 5 more people dead until 3 attackers were killed in shootouts with police. 14 people charged with providing assistance to the gunmen are scheduled to go on trial over the killings. That begins as we read this. The cartoons that depicted the Prophet Muhammad often lampooned Islamic radicals. The cover of the issue, and we have, I
These
pulled up
guys
just a
have
bunch to remind you.
fucking balls, man. I got to tell you, because I think about that, like radical Islam.
You pull those up.
Ultimately, bottom line is people are scared. They're mostly scared. You know, if you are like let's just say you're some celebrity male and you're some big dude and somebody talks shit about you and you saw him at a cocktail party and you punched him in the face, right? People would talk much less shit about that guy. That's just how we're wired. That's how it works. And if it is in fact precedent of you go ahead and make fun of our faith, we will come in and slaughter you in your work. I mean, it's been wildly effective. Like, people talk about like a respect for Islam, but there's no skewering. They're really they don't lampoon Islam. Like, we really don't. Like, people are like, I don't want to fucking get shot. I mean, if you think about in a world where everything is open and we make fun of everybody all the time and nothing is really off the table, certainly in terms of religion and that kind of stuff, people keep walking with Islam. Like, if there is a small chance that you could get Charlie Hebdo headquarters kind of thing, people are like, fuck it, I'm not saying anything. And it works.
Yeah, you're right. And talk about having balls. Here's a quote from Charlie Hebdo director Laurent Cerisou. He says, all the reasons that could be argued against us, like publishing these, are political or journalistic cowardice. Do we want to live in a country that prides itself on being a great, free, and modern democracy, and which at the same time gives up on asserting its deepest convictions? For our part, it's out of the question. It's out of the question, except to live in another country, another regime, another world.
Well, I rarely say this, but that Frenchman is a hero. Anne has balls, man. Yeah. God bless you guys. No reports of drugs with Ron, but accusations of taking advantage of drunk women, which is not the same as what I was saying. You got Gene Hackman and Kim Guilfoyle mashup ready? Sorry.
That wasn't enough! Acres wasn't! Now this girl!
Leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream.
You want another life? Then take me!
The best is yet to come.
Oh,
well, there you go.
Speech.
I know it's been done many times, but
same vigor.
Why not? Why not mash it up one more time?
Well done.
Yeah.
So there is a new TV show coming out about a woman that I am completely obsessed with as of this morning, and we have to get her on the show. An undercover FBI agent became an actress on a CW teen drama, Riverdale. Now they're making a TV series about her secret double life. Check this out. On primetime TV, Marisol Nichols plays the mother of Riverdale's Veronica, but during the day, Marisol Nichols hunts child sex predators. She has all this stuff going on when she's not filming. She volunteered to act as bait to sting international traffickers for the FBI's Operation Underground Railroad. She plays the part of parents pimping out children to sell them into these underground sex trafficking situations. They said in certain situations she also plays the child. I don't know how that works, but she also plays the parent. Nichols, who's also set to star in Lionsgate's Saw reboots called Spiral next year, has participated in numerous child sex stings around the world over the last few years. The TV series is going to tell her story. It's called Hollywood Vigilante. Marisol participated in 6 successful stings around the world. Her motivation to volunteer for the FBI stems from a rape at age 11. She says, it changed the entire trajectory of my life in a day. And now she goes after these dudes when she's not on set at Riverdale.
So she's an actress who moonlights with the FBI.
Correct.
I thought it was an FBI agent that got cast on the show.
Well, she's considered an FBI undercover agent.
Damn.
I saw a tweet. Somebody opened up a house and said, free sex with a minor, and just tons of dudes showed up.
That's like your cockfight.
Yeah, free cockfight for Raiders fans only, though, so catch the deadbeat dads. But it is appalling to me. And as I was looking at the list, the picture of the guys that showed up to the house, it was like young and old, black and white, rich and poor. Like, this is this huge cross-section of dudes, and there was no theme other than horrible dudes who wanted to have sex with young people. And it's sad that there's this much of this going on, that this much exists. Like, this is a thing in 2020.
Well, yes. To that point, they showed up to this sting operation not knowing. You can say, how do they not know? There must be things like this that actually happen, that go down where, no pun intended, where the guys actually show up and there's some action. Otherwise, why would you ever show up to one of these?
Oh, yeah. Like any good sting operation, like free cockfight for Raiders fans at the Coliseum, you're not going to attract anyone who's like, what's a cockfight? I don't know. I mean, you have to be a fan of the genre. You need to have attended. You know what I mean? So whatever they put out, I don't know what it was, Max, about it. I just it's so depressing.
The things I'm Googling is definitely going to get me flagged.
You're absolutely going to have a visit.
It's totally depressing to drill down on that stuff. I didn't want to read the story. It's so sad. But it just showed a picture of all these guys. I was like, it looks like there's one of everybody here.
Well, which just makes it more disgusting. I just finished we just talked about it on Teresa and my podcast, Easy Listening, about the Long Island serial killer. And the thing that made that interesting is because it was about killing sex workers and prostitutes. So nobody gave a shit until enough of them piled up that it was like, now we have a story. And they interviewed this girl named Kritzia. And this is from, the last however many years, where she's like, I was in New York. I was a runaway. I went to this guy's car in broad daylight in the middle of Times Square because he was going to give me money so I could go get food. They knocked me over the head. The next thing I knew, I'm in Florida, in a house where they give you a rating, they dress you up. The guys really like the 9-year-olds the best. And that's your life now until you escape. It's mind blowing.
It's also, I don't know what the hell we do with sexuality, because it's strong. You know what I mean? If you say, no one really wants to discuss this, but here goes. Your sexuality is pretty strong. It's pretty carved in. If you're an ass guy or a boob guy, or you like the MILF stuff, or you like the Asian women, or whatever that thing is that you like. And, if you're gay, historically, you could be killed, right? It's kind of a hassle to be gay. Certainly, historically. Now, the more you know. Come on. You live in L.A. in 2020, you get some bonus points. But
not in Chechnya.
Historically, it was bad. And So if you could just not be gay, well, that would just be a better life historically. But you can't, because it's in you. That's who you are. That's your thing. So we're trying to talk guys out of their sexuality. Like we're going, don't do it. It's wrong. It's the wrong thing to do. We're talking about this, young kids and stuff. And sadly, I don't know that you can tell people it's wrong or you can tell people it's illegal, because you can tell people not to rob a bank and I think they'll go, okay, I like money. I like free money, but I get it. I think I can control that impulse to rob a bank. Sexuality, it's tough, man. It's how do you control it? And you have to control it like the Gestapo, man. I mean, it has to be like zero tolerance, and everyone, chemical castration or whatever we're doing, or put them in a prison and don't let them out. Pedophile, create my island for pedophiles. But it's tough, and it's weird that there's so many guys. I don't mean so many from a percentage standpoint, but there's a lot of dudes that roll this way. It's it's sad, right? And it's also, if this is your thing as a dude, you'll never have a normal life, and you will at some point undo your own life. It's got to be impossible, especially in this modern era, just to go, I like the young ones, and I will just continue unabated. Like, you're going to end up, you have to know you're going to end up in prison. I mean, that's how you know how powerful it is, because every facet of society is saying you're the worst person on the planet. Mm-hmm. And if we see you doing this, we're going to put you in prison for the rest of your life, and no one's going to feel sorry for you. And you go, I'm doing it anyway.
And terrible guys that have done the most terrible things think you're scum, and you have to be separated from them.
Right. All right. Where's that? What was that tweet? I don't know. Brian, you saw it, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What tweet?
That somebody just sent me a picture. I don't know. I woke up this morning, I turned on the computer, and there's like guys, this whole, they did the story Brian was talking about, or I was talking about, that Brian was maybe familiar with, which is they put a sting house together and called a bunch of guys over. I don't know.
You may have gotten that directly. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were familiar with it.
No.
I thought that was within your genre.
Yeah. It was I don't know, sting house, pedophile, rounded up a bunch of guys who answered the ad and basically showed up. Yeah. All right. Let me hit Oracle here by NetSuite. America's ready to get back to work, but to win the new economy, you need every advantage in order to succeed. Smart companies run on NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. With NetSuite, you have visibility and control over financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more, all in one place. Whether you're doing $1 million in business or hundreds of millions in sales, NetSuite lets you manage every penny, give you the agility to compete with anyone and to work from anywhere. You can do it all over your own phone. Join the 20,000 plus companies who trust NetSuite. NetSuite by Oracle. Right, Dawson?
NetSuite surveyed hundreds of business leaders and assembled a playbook for the top strategies they're using as America reopens for business. Receive your free guide, 7 actions businesses need to take now, and schedule your free product tour at netsuite.com/Adam. Get your free guide and schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/Adam. netsuite.com/Adam.
All right. What else, Gina Grad?
Kylie Jenner is the highest earning celebrity of the year thanks to selling 51% of her lip kit company, Kylie Cosmetics, to a brand called Coty. Kylie tops the Forbes 2020 Celebrity 100 list with earnings of $540 million. And she happens to be the youngest and only woman in the top 10. I grabbed the top 12 because I thought 11 and 12 were very interesting. Any guesses who else is in the top dozen? Actors, athletes, everything in between.
These are earners.
Mm-hmm. For the year, right?
For the year. Well, I mean, obviously you got your Rocks and your Oprahs and your sort of perennials.
Dwayne Johnson is number 10. Oprah is not on the list.
Ooh. What's Oprah doing?
Slipped. I don't know.
Lady O's got to get out there and make some hay while the sun is shining. Stedman's got to get on her.
That's right.
What's this? You didn't crack 57 million this year? What are you? I'm at 44.9. Wow. I need a
Dear
new pair
John
of
letter.
shoes. Let's get
Yeah, we all
let's
need a
get
year
going.
off.
All right. What else? Yeah, tell us.
I'll
Gina.
tell you. So I'm going to go from 1 to 12 because I think that's the most interesting direction. Kylie Jenner, then Kanye West, powerful family, Roger Federer, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Is Kanye, what, is he making that much on clothing or music or what's he selling?
Oh, that's a good question. But there's a big, significant drop between number 1 and number 2. Kylie's 540 million, Kanye's 170, and he's the second.
That's embarrassing. I mean, what's Thanksgiving like?
Oh, God.
Awkward.
Very. A bunch of soccer players, Lionel Messi, then Tyler Perry, Neymar, another soccer player, Howard Stern at 90 million, LeBron James at 88.2, then The Rock, then 11 and 12, Rush Limbaugh at 11 with 85 million, Ellen DeGeneres at number 12 with 84 million.
Rush Limbaugh makes 85 million and Ellen like $84 million, right? You can see why she's dancing and wanting to kind of keep that party going. Syndicated TV, man. Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
What do they say? The mailman's your boss?
Yeah.
Bring the checks?
Yes. Wow. That is, I don't think anyone would ever even guess that. What a time we're living in. I'm trying to think, like, Kylie seems to have had a lot of work done, right?
Mm-hmm.
She looks quite a bit different than she did.
Those
the
are
whole family, top to bottom.
Yeah, you've seen those memes with Kylie before all the work done. And it says, "You're not ugly, you're just poor."
Oh, really?
With money,
Yeah.
you really can change things up.
Well, Kendall hasn't had stuff done, though, right? She seems like the sort of
think
natural one of the group.
She's the statuesque runway model.
She's much
Can't fake
wafier
that.
than the rest of them. Yeah. Jesus Christ. But
Yeah.
she's oh, wait a minute. Which ones are Caitlyn's? Wait a minute.
Caitlyn's are Kendall
The younger
and
ones.
Kylie.
Kendall and Kylie. Oh,
Yeah.
man. And then, not Brody. Is Brody?
Not Rob.
Rob.
Kardashian, and then Courtney and Kim and Khloe. I think that's the crew.
So Rob isn't a Jenner?
He's a Kardashian because his name's Rob.
Oh.
What,
He's a
isn't it?
Rob Kardashian.
Robert, yeah.
Right.
Robert
and he
was his
is,
dad.
and Brody's a Jenner.
Yes.
Brody Jenner.
Yes.
Right. And Rob and Brody can't be too far apart, though, can they? I thought Brody was older. Max
You
Spada,
tell us.
research that. What is Rob and Brody's age? And then one of them's a Jenner and one of them's a Kardashian. Jesus Christ. It's amazing how much money that family generates.
Rob is 33. Brody's 37.
Wow.
So, wait a minute.
So Brody was obviously born before the Kardashian got together with the Jenner.
Right, but then why is it Brody Jenner? Oh, he
From
broke
previous
his previous
marriages?
marriage. Oh, he's a previous marriage guy, and then okay, sorry. Now it's all working.
All right.
I'm not good at that. My whole life,
The family tree.
I didn't know like your cousin. I'm like, okay, so that means my mom is his mom. Like, no, Look, I. There's so
We
many.
really are bad at this.
There's so many things I didn't learn. I didn't learn any states, any capitals, any spellings, and it took me a long time. I to this day do not know the short months and the long months, and I never learned any family tree stuff, or not tree stuff, but then your second
How you're related,
Your second cousin means that your mom's cousin. I have no idea. It's my family. We didn't have uncles and family members and stuff, and I could never do the math. Yes.
It doesn't matter how many times in my life it will be explained to me before I die. I will never understand what once or twice removed means.
I don't know
Like
what
it's
that
your
means
second
either.
cousin twice removed. I have no idea what that means.
I thought Vince and Pat Bruno were my aunt and uncle my entire life, and they're my cousins. So I have no goddamn idea what's going on. All I know is I'm not getting left any money. That's all I know. I wish I was a Kardashian. Oh, I'd be the king of the Kardashians.
Is there a loophole where you could leave yourself some money?
How does that work?
I don't know, to your foundation or something. Like that'd be a nice little twist. Like, yeah, I left myself some inheritance.
Yeah, I want to be buried in my car. I'm going old school.
Right. Or what about what's her name? The hotel heiress. No,
Helmsley?
not heiress. The what's her name?
Helmsley?
Suzanne Plachette. Thank you. Suzanne Plachette played her. Didn't she leave it all to her dog or something? Leona?
You know what? I'm going to give my family a choice. Yeah, Leona Helmsley. I'm going to go, listen, I'm going to be buried in a car. Now, I'm going to give you a choice. I'm either going to be buried in my Porsche 935 that Newman drove at Le Mans, which is a very expensive car. You wouldn't want to bury it, but these are your choices. I either get buried in that car, or I get buried in a fully loaded Denali, but it's a rental. So you are going to have to pay for you are on the clock. You understand?
You're going to want the insurance.
You're going to want the insurance, but you're going to have to pay for the rest of your life for this car. But won't be in one big lump. It's a rental. That's going to be in my will.
Monthly.
But tell Matt to put that in my will. I want to be buried in a rental car, full size.
Willie the Wimp.
All right, what else we got, Gina Grad?
Well, speaking of sisters or cousins or who the hell knows, a flight was delayed Sunday after two female Delta passengers got into a brutal fight on the jet bridge of a terminal in LaGuardia. We have the video I'll play for you. And nobody could tell if they're either sisters or cousins, so they say. The two people involved in the fight were recorded punching each other before one of the passengers throws one on the floor where they continue to fight.
Going at it.
They are really serious. I would think it's only sisters.
Jesus.
They're in good shape. Though they're definitely sisters. I don't know if they're cousins. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Actual sisters.
Yeah.
Someone's going down the jetway to try and break them up. The bystander who took the video told the Daily Mail that they are related. The police were called to the scene. The two were led away from the gate in a peaceful manner, and but the flight was 45 minutes late.
Are women fighting and or screaming at each other and or screaming at elderly couples in the street or people trying to have dinner and stuff like that? Is that up 726%?
Seems like it.
I've always said women are far more aggressive than men. They're just smaller than men. It doesn't happen as much. I've always given the example of if you step on a guy's toe, the guy goes, "Hey, watch it." You step on a woman's toe, her hand flies out. Like her hand will fly out. Like it will hit you. Now, they're smaller. They're not going to do the damage, but they're like birds. That's why they call them birds in England. They're angry. And something has happened in the last 10 minutes where women are letting it fly. Like all whatever that anger was and all you don't put your hands, a lady wouldn't, it's all off. Because some of the footage I see like out in the streets, the most upset and the loudest and the craziest seem to be the women.
Yeah, are we just aware of it 700% more? Because we've always thought throughout history of women as the fairer sex, but now that everyone has the smartphone in their hands, maybe we're just being exposed to what was already there.
I think that women are more aggressive than men, but it's always been kind of tamped down. Like we've always kind of went, a lady wouldn't, fill in blank. Everything in our society that used to be tamped down is just, we just ripped the hymen off that Pringles can. And that's where we're at now. And so the guys, and as I've said before, hey, if you're a 200-pound dude and there's another 200-pound dude, like if Dr. Drew and me want to scrap, we're going to have to think that somebody's orbital socket could be shattered. Like there's going to be a couple of decent-sized dudes go at it. Someone could really seriously get injured. A couple 125-pounders go at it. It's a lot of hair, like pulling and tugging and kind of
pound
tussling.
for pound, it's the same injury, isn't it?
Yeah, but they never do. They don't do the damage that the dudes do. They hang on and they sort of roll around. It's not like 125-pound flyweight dudes. They grab the hair and then they sort of smack and roll around on the ground. But either way, the lid. My general synopsis is there are no rules and there is no more decorum anymore. And women who are more aggressive than men or who have hotter tempers, I think, than men do. And now I'm just going, maybe it's marginal, but I I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like most girlfriends I've had in my life have had a hotter temper than I have. Most women I know probably just have they're more. Why wouldn't they? They're more emotional. You know what I mean? Like, for good and for bad. That's just one side. They cry more easily. They hug babies harder. You know, and they probably can raise their voice a little faster too. I think that's true around my house. I don't know how you guys are at home. I don't know. How's it with Christy, Brian?
Yeah, definitely more quick to emotion. Like you said, both the hugging of the babies and, hair triggers sometimes. So, yeah, I can see that. Thankfully, she's not violent. She'd probably beat me up in my current state.
Right. But there is, how about at your house, Gina?
Well, it's funny. I was thinking about this. Growing up, I was in a house with very, very hot-tempered men, and I had to learn to be very even keel to counteract that. So I didn't know that there was another side of my personality until I became an adult. And oh, those poor boyfriends. So but I was trained out of that, even knowing that existed because it was already so prevalent in the house. But now I've thrown a pan, not at anyone, but just as a statement piece to the button of my sentence.
Iron skillet or Teflon style aluminum?
Teflon.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying to kill anybody, but it was the button to my argument, I think, one time.
I like that you've taken repressed and festered and turned it into trained out of me.
Yeah, that's good.
It's an interesting twist on repressed and festered.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I've been conditioned my entire life to be the calm one, so I can do that no problem. But when I have, somebody who's as understanding and as nice as my fiance, who lets me every once in a while just whip something at a wall, then I go, okay, this is not the way to go.
I'm trying to think. My dad, you couldn't get a rise. My parents are tough to use to try to measure. My dad wouldn't do any. My dad's never lost his cool. He doesn't have a cool to lose. He's just sitting on a sofa somewhere. So my dad never raises his voice or really does anything. My mom didn't do much of it, but she was kind of an emotional mess. Like, you could get her bent out of shape pretty easily. My dad, you couldn't really bend him out of shape too easily unless you fucked with his flugelhorn, and then you unleash the beast.
Game on.
The wrath.
Right. And then my grandmother was loud as shit and kind of aggressive and everything, and my grandfather was pretty quiet. And my sister and I were probably about the same. I didn't notice a big difference there. But Natalia can definitely get Lynette from 0 to 60 real fast. Because especially that's the woman on woman crime there. When the daughters start getting a little older, they can bring it out fast. Anyway, let's stop putting our hands on people in public. Folks, stop punching people and stop wrestling with family members. And if you want to do it, it's called backyard wrestling. Go to your own fucking backyard. Let's not delay the flight for everybody else.
You know what I think would be fun, though? I don't know if Brian's ever had this experience. I know Adam has. I've never hit somebody or slapped anybody.
Not outside of
fun.
some silly fraternity boxing.
Yeah, I'm talking like you want to.
Never actually. I've never. Not out of anger or that whatever.
I bet that's awesome.
Yeah, I never liked. I mean, I never liked it. I wasn't good at it. I didn't. I was a good skilled person, but I just it felt weird to try to hurt people. Or I could never, like, when you see some of that footage of like the guy's on the ground and he's dazed and confused, and the guy runs up and just kicks him in the face. Like, it's like, oh, like, how could you do that? Like, just run up and kick the guy in the head who's just laying there, like he's sitting on the ground, disoriented. Just kick him in the head, like that. The people who can do that to people, who can just come up behind him and hit him on the head with a brick, or just kick him in the head, or whether they're laying on the ground or whatever, those people are the scariest people on the planet. I've always said that. I'm not, we talked about bank robbers in the past. Like, I get bank robbery, and I get insurance fraud, and I get all that stuff. The stuff where you just clock someone in the head you've never met before, it's just has their back turned to you, or sucker punch them or something. it's so insanely evil, and you are the scariest person around because you need no motivation and no financial incentive to just punch people or kick people. Anyway, those people frighten me. Let's do one more. Let me hit BetOnline here first. NBA, NHL, playoffs, they are up and running, and you can get in on all the action, including the NBA playoff bracket contest. MLB continues through the summer, too. No shortage of ways to get in on the action. BetOnline has hundreds of odds, futures, and props to bet on. Plus, the casino never closes. Head to their website today, sign up, and receive your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Also, boxing, UFC, man, you talk about the bubble and the NBA and who did it right and who did it wrong. UFC did it right, man. They never missed a beat. Everyone's healthy and fighting. Want to get in on the action? That'd be a smart way to go. Visit betonline.ag, our exclusive partner at Podcast One. Don't forget, use the promo code Podcast One for your sign-up bonus today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, what else we got, Gina Grad?
Well, speaking of scary people and scary women, we can all go as scary women this Halloween. Artist Jason Adcock created the Karen mask, a scary Karen mask complete with bob hairstyle and angry, let me speak to your manager face. We're looking at a picture of it right now. You can add a cell phone to the costume. You can dangle a mask from your ear, refusing to put it on. If you're interested in the mask, you can check out Jason's Instagram page and DM him for details. And I think this is going to be a real hot seller this year.
I like when couples are sort of put the effort in to play both sides of the equation. So if you're married, if your wife is going to go Karen, then you go Costco employee.
Beleaguered manager.
Yeah, it's like, tell them, just please put your mask on. You got to wear the vest, right? You got to wear like the Costco vest or the Trader Joe's thing. Have the clipboard. Really get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm always envious of the couple that does the theme, that we need each one of you in order to complete this tableau.
Yeah, it's important. Keeps couples together.
When the hell is there going to be a Halloween? There's going to be a Halloween in LA?
On a Saturday night.
Oh, is it on a Saturday night?
Yes.
I think Halloween's going to be regional this year.
You know what I'm going to love? I'm going to love all the build up to Halloween where they get all the talking heads on the news and they're going to go, it's relatively safe for your child to go door. Now, here are my tips. Make sure they stand 10 feet away and the person who answers the door throws the Snickers bars at them. Then when you get home, get out the Lysol and wipe down all. I'm going to love all the tips and all the safety tips and how to do it responsibly and all that. Or you could fucking send the 9-year-olds to go get their fucking candy and enjoy themselves while the sun is still shining, or at least when the street lights come on, and we can get the fuck on with our lives. But there's going to be lots of safe tips for doing this. And when the hell is LA? Why is LA? Why does LA got to be the worst? Why does LA got to be the slowest and the worst and the safest? This is so tough. This is excruciating for me. I know some people probably like it in its own weird way. Some people tolerate it. This is a pipe cleaner up my fucking urethra living in this town. It is so brutal if you're wired like me. It's insane that I ate dinner last night in a parking lot with Sonny. And I walked into the restaurant, of course, to use the bathroom or to talk to the receptionist. And it's just wide open. It's we could just sit there and eat. No. We put the AstroTurf in the parking lot. It's just fine. It's just, it's all such fucking theater. All right, one more, Gina Grad. What else?
All right. Well, Niecy Nash, I think most people know who she is. She had a little plot twist lately. She had a secret marriage.
Twist. Try twat twist. Yeah.
Still got it.
Still got it.
You must know the story.
I saw her twat trending. Trending twat.
She married singer Jessica Betts. She declared herself Mrs. Carol Denise Betts. That's her real name, Carol Denise. The wedding photo, we have it, shows her in a white bridal gown and Jessica's in a tux. Everybody's looking happy. Only 6 months ago, Nash finalized her divorce from Jay Tucker. Before that, she was married for 13 years to Don Nash. They have 3 kids. Niecy and Jessica Betts have known each other for at least 2 years. Jessica appeared on Niecy's Instagram with the caption, "When you get to hang out on the set with your homegirl." And now they're betrothed.
Yeah, there's hope for us all.
Yeah.
You know?
And Jessica is like that hot, like, don't care what gender you are, you're just hot type. Did you see a close-up of Jessica?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen a close-up of her, but I do think about some of my super efficient male friends, and I'm like, God, man, if we were gay, we'd take over the world right now. Imagine this would be awesome. Just get around the gay part. But, you know, the older I get, you know, maybe Niecy Nash gives us all some hope. I mean, she's in a heterosexual relationship. She has sired 3 kids from that relationship, and now married to a chick dude.
It's the second act.
That's a gal. She's married to a gal, right? Wearing a suit? Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe there's some
and
time for us.
At your age, I don't want to, I don't want to assume, but isn't it really more about companionship? You don't have to have sex with the guy.
Not only that, but we're living in a judgment-free zone, you know? I mean, look, I go gay, I get that much closer to getting my next film into Sundance, right?
True.
This is not a burden anymore.
Far from
it.
Yeah.
You know where else you're living is a giant house. You can never see each other.
Yeah. All things to fantasize about in a non-sexual but strongly emotional way.
I'm just putting this up to the camera so you can see it. That's Jessica Betts. So it's like, I don't care gender-wise.
Wow.
You're just hot. For a guy or a gal, you're hot.
Take that, Michelle Negaticello.
Yeah, she's good looking.
Yeah.
How accomplished as a singer is she? Have we heard of her? Do we know what she does, Max Spanna?
I'm looking. I personally have not heard of her.
Finger popping music.
Oh yeah, stuff people can enjoy.
Yeah,
they
like to hear good music.
Well, that's why people leave the house, Chris.
Right.
I want to hear the good stuff. You know what I mean?
So I hear.
Yeah, they want to hear you experimenting with your guitar. They want to hear real music, thought out, well put together, rehearsed, finger popping. You know. Something they can tap their foot to. Foot tapping, finger popping music. You know what I mean?
It's a good note.
Yeah. I wonder if she's covered anything. I don't even know. Is she 30? Is she 23? Is she 51?
Hard to tell.
She is good. That's a handsome lady, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It just says American singer, R&B soul. But this is the first I'd heard of her.
I'm seeing one site saying she's 48.
Wow. She looks good. Is Niecy Nash, what was she? She was in The View, and now
Wasn't she in Reno 911?
Oh,
Isn't she
yeah.
on Loveline?
Yeah, probably. I can't keep track. There's way too many celebrities. When I was growing up, it was like you didn't even need to know the celebrity. You just need to be familiar. You need to be familiar with Starsky and Hutch. You need to know the $6 Million Man. You need to know Heart to Heart. You need to know maybe SWAT. Simon and the Love Boat. And you're like, oh, yeah, there's that guy's the captain, and that's the Gopher. That's Gopher from Love Boat. And, Dukes of Hazzard. You had to know. That's it. That's all we had. And then after that, there was like sports stars. There was like O.J. Simpson and Dr. J. And then there was local news people. That's all. That's all we had. But it wasn't this whole weird strata of online and Facebook, influencers and Aaron Paul and all these names, these YouTube stars. We didn't.
You mean Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Aaron Paul's from Breaking Bad.
Oh, his brother. But Logan.
Isn't there another Paul?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. Yeah. Well, see, this is my point exactly. Too many Pauls. We had Mrs. Paul. They made fish sticks. That's all we needed. That's all. And the Gordon's fishermen. Those two should have a kid, right? The Gordon's fishermen and Mrs. Paul.
Delicious.
Pope John Paul.
Remember, here's how bad our childhoods were. Fish sticks were a big time treat.
Oh, big time.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big treat.
It was a special occasion.
I show my kids fish sticks now. They just look at me and go, "Fuck, what is this burnt offering, old man?
Is this for the dog?
You get to dip it in something. Look, the idea that you could just dip this thing into something and then eat it, that was a big old deal. All right, Gina, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Last but not least, we got Geico, and right now Geico's offering you an extra 15% credit on car, motorcycle, and RV policies. That is 15% on top of the money Geico could already be saving you. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you save by going over to Geico? So if you're already there, you're going to save the money. If you switch over, then you're going to save as well. There's never been a better time to switch over. Save the extra 15% if you switch by October 7th. So visit geico.com to learn more. All right, I want to thank Dr. Drew for hanging out and cracking wise on this show. You can go to his website, drdrew.com, find out all he's doing. Go to our YouTube page and check out youtube.com/Adam Carolla. We have stand-up up there and bits up there and stuff you can look up there or look at up there. I'm your emotional support animal. It's available out, and you write a review on Amazon, and I will read it. Good sports coming up next. Tempe, Arizona, Improv, September 19th and 18th. I know I went in the wrong order there. I'm like reading the Torah over here, but live podcast and stand-up as well. So we'll do all that. Until next time, this is Adam for Dr. Drew and Gina Grad and Ball Bryan saying mahalo.